Readers of Reddit. r/AskReddit. My life is like 50 first dates, except it's not funny, it's really scary. Ask me anything. I suffered a brain injury in 2014 and it's left me with sensitivity to noise, migraines, traumatic epileptic seizures and anterograde amnesia. So every day when I wake up, I think it's still October 2014. How did you get the brain injury? Are there any hidden positives that come with your brain resetting? Guess OD positive is if I'm having a shit day, as long as I don't bother writing it down, then I don't remember it the next day lol. Other than that, no, it's all negatives. No one's really sure because I was on my own, but the general guess is that I was waiting for my ex-fiancée to pick me up from hospital. I'd gone up to get my knee sorted after dislocating my kneecap earlier in the night and I put it back in wrong. I was waiting out the front of the A&E, having a ciggy, and I passed out and hit my head on a metal pole. For any type of phenomena that has occurred in the last 5 years, do you keep notes of it? Do any memories that happened during any given day stick after a number of repeated daily re-educations? What does your morning ritual involve? What do you mean by phenomena? I keep a daily diary which I have to read every day when I wake up, so I know what's been happening since the brain injury, but it's just a general diary, it's nothing special. Regarding repeating stuff and memories sticking, it doesn't look like it. It looks like I sleep for longer than 4 hours and I don't know how else to explain it. I'll use today as an example. Woke up at 5 AM when my alarm went off. Freaked out when I saw I was at my mum's house, not at home. Put my glasses on, they were on top of some notebooks saying read me. Started reading, found out why I'm at mum's, been living here for nearly 3 years now. Catch up on what's been happening for the last nearly 5 years. Find the unlock code for my new phone. Look through Facebook at some of the pictures and videos. Have to finish reading and looking through Facebook later. Need to sort my son out for school. He's now 8. He turned 4 2 weeks before the head injury. Get him breakfast. He eats and gets himself dressed. I take him to school. Luckily I know where the school is from before my brain injury. No idea where his classroom is, but he says he always goes in through reception because I can't walk all the way round to his classroom. I have physical disabilities that I've had for years, not connected to the brain injury, but have gotten worse since then. Say goodbye and I'll see him on Sunday, because he's at his dad's this weekend. Go home, nap on the sofa for an hour because I'm still exhausted. Must have slept funny because I've woken up, and can't move my neck or spine without a lightning bolt of pain starting at the base of my spine going all the way down to my lower back. Take fentanyl nasal spray, put another patch on, mum passed me everything. Spend some more time reading the rest of my diaries and looking through Facebook and the other apps on my phone, which is also new to me. I had an old style Nokia that could only do texting and calling, now I have a smartphone. I don't like it. Currently still stuck on sofa. Wondering if I'm going to have to sleep on it tonight. Are you in a relationship? If so, how's it affected? I met my partner in October 2016. It's scary waking up next to him, not knowing who he is or where I'm staying at his, and apparently we have pictures of us together around his room so that I can see I have some connection to him, and he's not just a random stranger. It's even more disconcerting, because I expect to wake up next to my ex in our old house, so waking up next to a man I don't recognize, don't know, is difficult. We seem to be doing pretty well. It's been about 2.5 years, he's patient with me, will explain things repeatedly, and makes sure I write stuff down in my diary that's important. Do you feel like it's impossible to ever really fall in love with your partner, since you'll only ever really know him for one day at a time? I don't know. We say we love each other, and when I was texting him earlier I was feeling happy about it, so I guess that's something. But it's hard because I don't really know him. All I have to go on is what I've got in my diaries, and he seems like a brilliant partner, and I must see something in him because otherwise I would have finished it. But in fairness, I've never really done feelings anyway. I've always been a bit disconnected from everyone, so it's not something new that I'm having to deal with. What are you going to do when your diaries get so thick that you can't possibly read it all every day? It took me just over 4 hours to read them fully today. Honestly, I'm just hoping that my brain fixes itself before it gets to that point. My biggest fear is that I'll wake up tomorrow, and it's actually 10 years later, and my son has changed so much that I don't recognize him. The thought of that happening, and the amnesia lasting that long, really scares me. You have my utmost empathy. I can't imagine being in your situation. Given all of your medical issues, what is your long-term outlook on life? How long of a life are you expected to have? Have you considered something like assisted suicide? My life expectancy is normal, but a lot of my physical problems are degenerative, so I'm only going to get worse as time goes on. Euthanasia is something I've been strongly in favor of for years. If animals are in pain and suffering, we put them out of their misery, so why is it considered okay to make people carry on when they are in pain and want to end their life? I believe everyone should be able to choose for themselves if they want to die with dignity, and not have to travel to another country and be apart from their family and friends when the time comes, if that's what they want. Obviously some people do want to be by themselves. If I wasn't such a coward, I would have killed myself a long time ago, but I'm too chicken to do it. This is one of the most interesting AMAs I've read here. I'm sorry this happened to you, but you seem like quite a strong and resourceful person. Also, I'll second the other person who mentioned Memento. The main character deals with his issue by being extremely organized. Speaking of organization, do you ever edit your diary, like make a 1 or 2 page summary that shows the most important events from the past 5 years plus your current situation, your current partner is? Do you use some list of tasks, so you can remind your future self to do something you can't do immediately? What's the tone of your diary? Very matter of fact, today I had another visit to the doctor. Or do you talk to your future self more empathetically? Don't be scared, you've been doing this for several years. Just read this and you'll be ready for the day. Yeah, I have a few pages that are dedicated to specific things rather than general stuff. For example, I have a section on my fella, his full name, date of birth, address, phone number, likes, dislikes, how and when we met, his family, some stuff from his childhood, jobs he's done, etc. Another section is about stuff to do with my son, his teacher, where his classroom is, who his friends are, what he's good at, what things he's into, toys, movies, etc. Mum has a section because she had a knee replacement a couple of weeks ago. And that's got things in like how she's doing each day, what exercises she's meant to be doing and how often, when she has any follow-up appointments and what, if any, questions we need to ask. I'm her main carer because I live with her. Any sections I have get updated with whatever new information is relevant, and old stuff is crossed out. There's a calendar in the kitchen that has any future appointments on it. It also has if I need to make appointments, if anything is going on at the school, when the litter tray was last changed, when my son is at his dad's, stuff like that. It's a bit of both. 90% matter of fact and straightforward, but there are entries about how I'm terrified that this is my life. I'm going to be stuck like this forever. Everyone would be better off without me. Real self-pitying shit like that. But there's not much of it, and it's gotten rarer in the last couple of years because I made a decision to not write down the bad days unless it's a really bad day, so that I don't feel quite as shit when I'm reading through it. Did you make that decision and wrote it down in the diary, or can you remember that sort of thing? Do you think you would downplay some negative stuff, overstate some positive stuff to give yourself a nicer read in the future? I wish lol. No. It's written in my diary. Possibly. I'm sure I've had some really bad days and not written down about them, so I don't have to read that stuff. Don't think I overplay the good stuff. I've always been quite straight, logical and matter of fact, and it doesn't really seem logical to make something sound better than it was, because if I speak to someone about it and it turns out it isn't as great as I wrote, then I'm going to wonder how much else I wrote that I can't trust. I think factual is better and easier. I am unsure if this is a silly question, but here goes. Have there been any particular memories that somehow overcome the condition? If so, how do you process those memories when you have many missing pieces of the puzzle? It looks like I've had a handful of times where I've remembered something from the previous day or week, but the memory hasn't stuck around. So when I've slept again, it's gone again and I don't remember remembering it. Hope that makes sense. Can't think of how else to word it. Do you ever have days where you wake up and don't just accept it? It looks like I've had a few, but there hasn't been any notes to that effect in my diaries for a couple of years now, so I'm not sure whether I've just stopped writing it down if I don't accept it, or if something in my brain is working really hard to tell me subconsciously that it is real, and why would I lie to myself about something as shit as this situation? That's all I can think of anyway. The Reddit Vigilante would like to thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more great content every day.